You're listening to the Superpower Podcast, Superpower Kids Edition, where author, philanthropist, and Superpower Kids founder Neva Lee Recla inspires kids to discover their superpowers and change the world.
Hi everyone, this is your Superpower Kid, Neva Lee Recla, and I'm very excited for today's interview. We are talking about the power of expectations. So, having expectations for your life is really cool, and it's okay to have them. But sometimes when we expect things from other people, it doesn't go as well, and our ego loses. So, today we're going to be talking about how having expectations ties into your life and how maybe you can learn to move away from having expectations and moving into going with the flow. So, our guest today is Art Costello. And he is a life coach, a visionary mindset expert, an author, and we met at New Media Summit. He also helps people do great things, and he's awesome. So without further ado, will you help me welcome our guest, Art? Hi, Art.
Hi, Neva. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am awesome.
Awesome. So what are your superpowers?
My secret power is actually the power of expectation. And it has driven me from the time that I was 9 years old till today. And it has gotten me through almost every major life event that I've had. And the real key to it is once you learn how to manage expectations, life becomes so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good superpower to have because, like you said, once you learn how to handle expectations, your life is easier and you get to learn something new and you get to experience a new way of living when you don't, like for me, it's not having expectations and it's like kind of being able to go with the flow. But for some people, it's learning how to and how you can tie that into your life.
Yeah, for me, it's always been, I've always had the idea that you cannot get away from expectations. But what it is you don't want to be focused on the expectations of other people. Because when you're focused on your expectations and how you handle them and what they mean to you, because expectations are what drive us. All of our creativity, everything we do is based on an expectation. Matter of fact, I challenge people all the time, tell me one thing that you do that is not based in an expectation. Because it's impossible. I mean, as simple as breathing and as complicated as solving the most far out problem you could ever imagine, we always have expectations. When we have expectations that are set by other people, we give away our power. We give away our superpower when we give away our expectations to others and we start living what they want us to do instead of what we want to do. And I don't want it to sound selfish because sometimes people think that it can be selfish to live that way. But it's really not being selfish. It's being self-caring. It's about taking care of you. Because and even at 9, and I can briefly tell my story. At 9 years old, I was abandoned and had to figure out life. And I went to a mountaintop and had a conversation with God and the universe and asked what was going to become of me. And because I had to figure everything out, I made this trip many, many times. And one day I just heard a voice down inside of me that said, your job's just to be good and your greatness will come. So I began to believe that after many, many years. And it really became who I am. Because I always had this idea and expectation that no matter what, everything in the world was going to be okay. I just had to go with the flow. I just had to flow with it. And, I've lived my life that way. I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. And I've been through some hard times. I'm a Vietnam veteran, was in the war. I've lost my wife to cancer in 2006. And I've had all the struggles that we all go through, but I've always come out of it with a smile on my face because I just know that in the end, it's all going to work out. Everything's going to be just so it was meant to be.
Exactly. I really like how you talked about that even in the darkness, you were able to find the good. Because some people, they're stuck in it and they don't know how to get out. I also liked how you said it's self-care, not being selfish. Because to all you listening out there, it's okay to preserve yourself a little bit. And it's okay to not listen to every word someone says and try to find your I call it like finding your sync, and trying to find what you do in the world and trying to figure out how you can live your life without being controlled by someone else, without being the puppet, you know?
Yeah, your wisdom is way beyond your years. The thing about when we let other people dictate what we do is that it causes that hesitation, and it causes that frustration, and it causes us to get stuck. But when you have that passion in your heart that it comes from within inside of you, that's linked to your expectations, because when you're in sync with your expectations and you know what you want, your passion will come out and your growth will just blossoms.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
It really is. And I find that it's a huge gift being able to find yourself, especially early on, and especially being able to discover it and use it to help others. One of the things I say a lot is the greatest gift you can give to the world is being yourself, because that is true. And if you don't live your life with a mask and you don't live your life pretending to be someone else, it's really great. As well as, like, I find that the more in your power you are, which, like, not being mean to people, but standing your truth and speaking it, whatever that is for you, that is a huge gift. And people, I find that, like, the rude relationships or, like, people who aren't the nicest tend to go away from you because you are standing your truth. And that's scary for some people, but it doesn't have to be.
It's so funny because this morning my daughter is 40 years old, and this morning we had this conversation about standing your truth. And it just resonates, and I'm going to encourage her to listen to you, because at 9, it's just beautiful that you have an understanding of it, because many people go throughout life and don't understand this, and it causes them to get stuck.
Exactly. But and you don't have to get stuck. And it's because I've had the opportunity and the people around me to support me. And I've just had the luxury of growing up in an environment where being yourself and truly living who you are is normal. But some people just don't have that. And so I get to look around and realize I have a pretty easy life. And so, but some people don't, you know?
Well, I think that one of the things that has graced you is that you're able to express yourself, and you do it very eloquently. And that comes from living life experiences. And I know that your parents really expose you to a lot of the world and don't hide you from it. Exactly. And don't shelter you and let you grow as a young lady. And they're to be commended for that. But you're to be commended for being able to process and move through it, because it's really a blessing.
It is. It really is. I'd love to keep talking about this more with you, but do you have any last advice before we go into the break?
I just think that the thing is that we just need to live to who we are.
Yeah.
I think that that's the important thing. And it's hard for people to learn it, but it's to live your truth is probably one of the greatest statements we can make about us and others. Live our truth.
I agree. That is great advice. Before we also go into the break, where can people go to find out more about you?
They can find about me at expectationtherapy.com, and also my podcast, the Shower Epiphanies podcast. And that's where they can find me.
Awesome. Definitely go check him out because he is so amazing and inspirational. We've been talking with Art Costello about the power of expectations. We'll be right back after the break.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Dawn Recla, Executive Director of Superpower Experts, and we want to thank each of you for making Superpower Up the #1 podcast network for personal development and spiritual growth. Because people like you have the courage to say that mindfulness, healthy living, disrupting reality, the pursuit of consciousness, responsible entrepreneurship, and radical parenting matter, we now amass over 1 million downloads monthly in more than 90 countries. Our numbers keep growing because there are far more people willing to live divergently than mass media wants to acknowledge. For you, the change makers, the light bearers, the way showers, we say thank you. If you're ready to take the next step in your evolution, go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower quiz. And as Neva Lee Recla, our youngest podcaster, likes to remind us, remember, we all have superpowers and we can change the world.
Okay, we're back and we've been talking with Art Costello about the power of expectations. So, Art, we get to do funny FaceTime. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're going to make our funniest faces in 3, 2, 1. That's a good funny face.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what were you like as a kid? Like, what was your passion? What did you want to do to help the world?
I think that what I wanted to do, and I have always wanted, is to help kids see the power of expectation and just be able to live. I want kids to experience, and as a child, I wanted to experience. But, one of the things that I craved that you talked about was being surrounded with parental guidance, and I didn't have that as a child. So things were different for me. At 17, when I graduated from high school, I went in the Marine Corps and went from being a boy to a man real quick. So, but, in Vietnam, I tried to adopt a little girl. She was 9 years old that I found in an orphanage that we were going through one time. And I set up sending money to her for a long period of time so she could get educated and have all the tools that she needed to survive and grow. So, I've always tried to help people. I have a servant's heart.
Yeah. I think that what you're doing in the world is really amazing because you found the way to help people without sacrificing yourself. And some people are challenged in that because there's a fine line in between helping others and, kind of sacrificing who you are. And so beautiful that is a part of who you are. And it's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I just want people to know that being different, because I always felt different as a child and I didn't feel like I was like everybody else. And it's okay to be that way. But the big thing about it is we need to be patient because we never know what the next moment's going to bring for us. And it can bring us the greatest joys or it can bring us the greatest sorrows. But it doesn't matter. Because everything that happens to us is meant to teach us a lesson. And when we look at life as a teaching moment and we learn from each of those events, we will grow and we will become. It's taken me a long, long time to really exercise my superpowers. We go through life and we really don't know what they are. And sometimes it takes a long time, but that's okay. Be patient. That's my recommendation to kids. Just be patient because don't give up hope and don't give up faith because hope and faith are what keep us going for the next beautiful moment that can come because we never know what it is.
Yeah, I agree. And thing is, you don't have to be like everybody else because you're you. And like I said, don't put on a mask because then that is when I find that sometimes more problems happen in life when I try to fake who I am and try to be not 100% who I am. And so it's beautiful being able to be that. And it's beautiful being able to realize, you know what? I'm not like everybody else. And that's okay. And something one of my guests said one time on an interview was that there's not two people in the world who are exactly the same. And I believe that's true because we're all different and we all have our own hearts and our own souls and our own passions. And that's okay. And it's kind of cool being different, you know?
It is. It's what, can you imagine if we were all the same in this world? It would be a terrible place to live. You know, what makes it so beautiful. But the other part of it is that we need not to be judgmental. When somebody is different, we need not to judge them. We need to let them flourish and encourage them to be different. Because when we do that, then they become who they want to be, and we are allowed to become who we want to be. And so I don't pass judgment on anybody. I mean, people look different, they act different, we think different, we draw different. I mean, we're totally different when we let ourselves to be. What's sad is when people want to be like other people, like they want to be like movie stars or they want to be like, you know, sports figures and all that. They stop living to who they're meant to be, you know, and they stop using their superpowers and think that they can use the superpowers of others.
Yeah, I agree. And it's okay having the same superpowers as somebody, but learning to make that your own and learning how just because this person uses it this way doesn't mean I need to use it this way and I can use it my own way, you know?
Yeah, I think when we use our own superpowers is when we flourish, you know, and our superpowers can be the same as somebody else's, but they're still ours. They're
Exactly.
still ours when we're authentic. So it's being authentic to who you are, being faithful to who you are.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. So, do you have any last advice before we go into Super Neva questions?
My next piece of advice is just to become a listener. Listen to what other people say and don't judge, and just soak it all in and learn everything that you can without being judgmental, obnoxious, you know, just suck it in because this world has so much to teach us. And when we process it and use it, we become who we're meant to be and we become our own superhero.
Yeah, I agree. And that is really true because being able to be your own superhero is really awesome. And like for me as well is finding those moments that fuel you and finding those moments that fill you with pure and utter joy and finding those moments that make you feel like a superhero and surrounding yourselves with the people who don't make you feel any different and finding the people who are your superhero buddies, you know, and finding the people in your life and finding the areas in your life that you can help other people and help you learn to grow into even more of yourself.
Amen.
Yeah. So now we get to do Super Neva questions, which basically means I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions and you have to answer them as fast as you can.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
All right. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite animal?
Dog.
What is your favorite food?
Pizza.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
In St. John's in the Caribbean.
If you could have any superpower in the world, what would you choose?
Power of expectation.
If you could be best friends with any superhero, who would you be? That's it.
Superman.
If you could have a pet dragon or a pet unicorn, what would you choose?
Could you repeat that, please?
If you could have a pet dragon or a unicorn, what would you choose?
Dragon.
Ooh, me too. I would choose both, actually.
Yeah, I would too.
If you could have super strength or become invisible, what would you choose?
Good question. I think I would become invisible.
That's good. I'd probably choose super strength because I feel like I could do more fun things, But plus, I think it would help people. But being invisible would be kind of cool. Like if I could do both, maybe.
I think being invisible for me. Well, I said that because I'm such an avid learner, and it would just be cool to just see how honest people are.
Yeah, I agree. If you could live in a hot tub full of hot fudge or a pool that's like 20 feet deep full of marshmallows, not water, for the rest of your life, what would you choose? And you had to stay there.
Did you say chocolate pudding?
Yeah.
Yeah, there I'd be, chocolate pudding.
I would be in the marshmallows because I could make more space out of it. If it's like a giant pool, I could make more things out of it, and I could bring things in to make it more like a house. That's what I would do. Plus, out here in Arizona, it would be really hot. And so, a hot tub. If you could be any inanimate object, what would you be?
Inanimate object. A tree.
Ooh. But isn't that technically animate?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Inanimate. I think this is a good question. I think I'd be a statue.
Ooh. I would be a book because people could learn from me.
Ah, that's good.
If you could be the world's fastest runner or the world's fastest swimmer, what would you choose?
World's fastest swimmer.
Me too, because that would be so fun. Just being able to go in the pool and beat everyone. That would be awesome. If there was one food you could eat for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Broccoli.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love broccoli.
Me too. If you could live in a house, like with a bunch of Wi-Fi for the rest of your life, or a tree house for the rest of your life that is just full on in nature, what would you choose?
The tree house.
Me too. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I got. So, do you have any last advice or words that you want to give to our audience for maybe how the power of expectations can affect their life?
Yeah, because everything that we do is based on an expectation, it is important that you do first identify what you want and then learn how to manage it, clarify it, which means just really make sure that it is what you want. And then third, always write a written plan down. Become a writer. Write down the things that you want, that you don't want, so you can identify it and always have it in your hand to look back on. Keep a journal. I'm all about keeping journals and writing down things because, as good a memories as we have, we forget a lot. My podcast is Shower Epiphanies, and one of the things that I do is keep a chalkboard. I have this huge, big shower, and I keep a chalkboard in there that you can write on because I get these ideas in the shower. But the minute I'm out of the shower, I forget them. So I have to write them down. And I do a lot of my writing off of those writings that I do in the shower. So always write down these thoughts that you have. Keep a notebook next to your bed. And when you get these ideas, just write them down. Those epiphanies are what drive us and create our expectations. And so it's just a process. You just keep doing it, and just have faith, and that everything is going to be okay.
I agree. That is really good advice because, again, like you said, keep something next to you. Like keep a journal, keep a notepad, or whatever it is for you. Sometimes it's electronics, and sometimes it's your notes on your phone or something. But keep something that if you have an idea, you can write it down and you remember. And even if it's like a designated notebook for all of your ideas or all of your like life's moments or whatever it is for you, keep that with you, because like those, being able to look back on those memories is really amazing. And also, who knows what you could turn it into one day.
You never know.
You never know. That's the power of going with the flow.
Yep.
So thank you so much for coming on my show. I really enjoyed talking with you about the power of expectations. Can you remind our guests one more time where they can go to find out more about you?
They can go to expectationtherapy.com, and everything that I have is on there, and it will lead them to where they want to either contact me or they want to enroll on an online course that I teach. But it's all there on my website.
Awesome. And again, definitely go check him out because he is so amazing and inspirational. Art, thank you again. And remember, kids, that we all have superpowers and we can change the world through the power of expectations. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Superpower Up podcast, Superpower Kids Edition. Go now to superpowerkids.com and discover your superpowers today.